Sean was doing special things on the football field.
15-10-5 touchdown, Sean Taylor does it again.
Breaking news, Sean Taylor was shot this morning outside his home.
You know, I just couldn't believe it. It just really hurt and sting. You know, he played the game with so much love and passion, you know, and you can see it. You can see it. He played the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Years ago Monday, Redskins safety Sean Taylor was murdered when 4 men entered his house in an attempted robbery and shot the 24-year-old. It sent shockwaves through the NFL and the nation's capital, where the team captain was a fan favorite after making the Pro Bowl 2 of his first 4 years. Taylor is gone, but certainly not forgotten. Many of the top safeties in the game still point to him as their main influence and honor him by either wearing the number 36 Taylor wore his rookie year or the number 21 he wore the next 3. Our Ryan Clark played next to Taylor for 2 years in Washington and knows personally what Sean Taylor meant to the game.
Every time you hear Sean Taylor's name, you just think about the heart, the passion, the love he brought to this game.
Sean Taylor's got him.
Passionate, hungry, driven. What is it between those lines? He's like everybody's enemy.
He was a man among boys, bigger than everybody. He was faster than everybody. He just had instincts like no other.
Sean, the day you lost your life, I had just finished a battle for mine with sickle cell. I never thought I'd play again. But as soon as I was cleared, I had to have 21. I had to wear it. So after hearing no so many times, I said I'd wear it to practice. I'd wear it under my jersey at games. You were 21. And that number was important to me because you were important to us.
If you see me, I always throw up 21. It's just to honor him, to praise him. That's why I wear the jersey.
The reason why we play this game, we put on a 21 jersey, is because of him. That was the first guy I seen as a 21. And, you know, just to be here and representing this 21 now, I got to make sure I carry this number with pride and respect.
It means a lot to be on the same team as Sean Taylor. Rock one of the numbers that he wore his rookie year. I wanted to wear 36, regardless of where I went, but especially if I went to Washington Redskins.
Taylor, my guy, Taylor.
Our teammate Marcus Washington nicknamed you Beast. Half man, half beast. And for those of us who saw you play, we knew that no nickname was more fitting.
When I first saw Sean Taylor play, I was in middle school when he was playing versus the Saints. Sean Taylor came up and just whacked somebody, and I was like, man, who is that?
Watching the Miami games, being all over the field, and receiving across the middle.
They had to be sworn to play 15 times on ESPN, and remember Aiden came across the middle, and I remember him doing a gainer front flip. You know, his passion and relentless effort in football games, man, it's unbelievable.
Wow, what a hit.
The way he hit allows people, make them go backwards, make them kind of quit.
Those were the things that I took from it and tried to add to my game as a young kid.
When you think about being the best safety in the game, the first person you think about is Sean Taylor. You know, as I'm getting ready for the game, the last thing I do before I step on the field is come to Sean Taylor highlight. I envision myself making the plays that he's made already.
Something I want to keep in my mind, why I do it and how I want to do it.
Do what Sean do. You know, that's what I say in my head. There's an interception with big hit, forced fumble, being all over the field, just do it like Sean.
We're in Washington together playing Pittsburgh, and I'm frantic because I'm chasing Willie Parker. You're clear on the other side, and Willie hits it, and poof, he disappears. And I'm like, it's a miracle. Nah, it was just you.
He went over the top on the wheel route, picked it off, and got 2 feet in on the sideline. It was one of his early picks. My first interception in the league was a go ball on the sideline against Carson Palmer. Both picked him off the same way.
against the Rams. Sean Taylor was coming on the blitz from the backside and came over the top because the quarterback tried to duck and throw Sean over the top. But Sean grabbed him from underneath and kind of like somersaulted over him, but still got the sack. And the same thing I did to Carson Wentz last year. I was like, man, I just did a Sean Taylor move out here.
Against the Colts, I came from the middle of the field, and I just broke on the ball and made a sideline play. The thing Sean does, I don't think anyone can do it, but that's as close as I'm going to get. Your body has been absent for 10 years, but your spirit has never missed a play.
I keep him alive by just playing my game the way I know how.
There was so many questions I would love to ask him. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
I feel like he's always watching. And when it's my time to pass away or to go up to the Lord and I get to speak to him and finally meet him man to man, he put his arm around me and be like, you did it.
Ryan Clark joins us now. Ryan, I mean, we got to see so many of your thoughts in that piece, but what do you think Sean's lasting legacy will be?
For me, his lasting legacy is both a lot of tragedy and triumph. He got stuck in that number. Like, we never got to see him get older. We never got to see him progress. You know, how people get to see Charles Woodson now, knowing he's a Hall of Fame player and watched him play, but now you get to know what type of man he was. And for me, that's the thing, and it's awesome that these kids idolize him and these kids still watch his videos and understand who he was as a player. And the sad part is we never got to see him be as good as he was going to be. And so it's amazing that still now he's able to affect the game and touch the people the way he does.
Moose, I know you were with him in Washington when you were in the scouting department. What do you remember from that time?
Sam, this was something that for me was very personal because this was early in my scouting career. I was kind of fresh off of playing. I only stopped playing about 3 or 4 years from the time that we started scouting Sean for the 2004 draft. And for me, it became very personal because he played a position that I played, and he was about 10, 15 pounds heavier than me. But as a guy who was a lot older than him, I used to look at him when I first started scouting him, and I used to think, this is who I always wished I could have been. And I remember when we drafted him, I told him that. And he kind of sat there and looked at me and he said, what do you mean? He said, you don't understand that you have such a rare skill set that you could go down as being one of the greatest of all time. And in my time, my heroes were Ronnie Lott, Kenny Easley, Don Rogers, Steve Atwater, Dennis Smith, the guys who you watch NFL films now, their highlights are all over the place. So Sean, you'll be better than all of those guys. And for me, to have him taken away at that age, it was so personal to me that it still chokes me up now talking about it.
Yeah.
Because, as Ryan said, this guy was changing his life around. And he was on his way to redefining how defensive backs play the game. And I think when you see now, to see his legacy kind of transcend generations, you've seen young guys come up who never even knew who he was. It's a shame to have him. Football lost something, losing Sean Taylor. Mankind lost something, losing Sean Taylor.
It still feels fresh for you, I can see, 10 years later. I mean, Charles, when you think about the kind of guy he was and the impact he was already making on the field, what stands out to you most?
Oh, man, well, sitting here listening to these guys, I don't feel like I feel qualified to talk about him. You know, I watched him, of course, from a distance. For me, I think when you watch Ed Reed talk about him and you talk about the passion that he had for the game, the way he played the game, I don't think there's any moment that stands out to me more than a moment at the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you think about the Pro Bowl, you know, we've been over there, and you know, it's you try to take care of one another at the Pro Bowl.
Oh.
Nobody wants to get anybody hurt. You know, you think about your contract that next season, and you don't want to be out. When Sean Taylor hit the punter,
He lit him
He
up.
was playing.
that was real football right there.
Before the game,
You know what I'm saying?
I was talking to my wife because we had text that week. He was hanging out with AP, Antonio Pierce, and they were out there. And I was like, babe, somebody's going to have to tell them if they don't play like that. I told her before the game, I was like, somebody's going to have to tell them that it's the Pro Bowl and certain things don't happen. And I remember my wife didn't live with me in my first year because I was a free agent. I thought I was going to get cut at any point. And so I remember Sean walks out of the building, her first time visiting. She's waiting for me in the parking lot. And he walks by the car and he ducks down. And he's like, "Hey, Mrs. Clark, nice to meet you." So he walks off. I get in the car and my wife was like, "Well, who was that?" I was like, "Oh, that's Sean." She's like, "The crazy one?" I was like, "Yeah." But like that was the difference in him. He was very soft spoken. He was really quiet. He was super respectful. And then when the lights came on, he was a different person. And I think you listen to the kids talk about the I keep calling them kids. The younger players now talk about the plays he made. It was more so about the way he went about doing it each and every day that I've never seen matched. I've never seen people do it the way that he did it and care the way that he did and strike the type of fear in people that he did. And Lou talked about losing a great man. When I was sitting on the stairs and so my son was going to school and I just got out of the hospital and he's like, "So Dad, it's on the news." He's like, "What happened to Uncle Sean?" And, and I couldn't even, I couldn't tell him about it, because we had it was days and you knew it and Jackie was calling and everybody was calling and you knew it was coming. And so we lost so much as a player, but for people who really knew him, not for the people who got to talk about him afterwards and say stupid things because they didn't know him, for the people that really understood him, they understood what this game meant to him, but what changing his life and being better meant. And we started to see him play like he was supposed to because he did those things.
I just think it's so important. I didn't know Sean at all, but it is already impactful for me to hear your stories. I think it's so important to keep his legacy and his memory alive by sharing that. So I just personally want to say thank you for you guys for opening up the way you did. I think we're all better for it. We've still got a whole lot more coming up on Sunday NFL Countdown. When we come back, yes, Rex is back at it again.